What's up, friends? And we're live. This is your man, Dallas Michael Sear here, coach extraordinaire. I specialize in helping my clients move through major life transitions. If you're going through a really big challenge, a divorce, a business breakdown, some kind of life or business rebirth or reinvention, you're in the right place. I'm that right guy. So stay tuned. I've been supporting my clients with this work like this for the last 14 plus years, so that way you can move through these challenging times with greater ease and clarity, and most importantly, not repeat the mistakes of the past, actual sustainable transformation. And so, as I mentioned, I've been doing this for a very long time. And what I want to share with you today is the three clarities. What are the three clarities you absolutely need? Now, of course, if you don't mind repeating the same mistakes from the past over and over again in an endless loop and being miserable and making all your change and transformation hard because you want to fight for it, you want to work for it, then you don't need me. You don't need this video. If that does not sound good to you, you actually want to change with greater ease and would love some support in whatever you're going through. And a lot of us, most of us are going through something. Stay tuned. Hopefully you can see this nice and clear. And yeah, the three clarities. Okay, I'm gonna enlarge that for you. There we go. So coming back to this, how to stop repeating the past. All right. So if you're ready to stop repeating the past, making all the same mistakes, but in different situations. Now, here's what that means, right? A lot of us will move into a different relationship, and the person will look like they're someone different, right? Instead of a Susie, it's a Sally. Instead of a Jim, it's a Kevin. It's the person's got a different name. They look different. They come from different parents, right? But when you get underneath to their subconscious beliefs and their behaviors and how they treat you or how you treat them, they're the same. That's the sneaky thing about patterns repeating, right? It's like you're in a different job, but how come you're having the same experience? So if you want to get clear on how we end up in those places, let's move on. Clarity number one. This may seem crazy. What do you mean, where am I really? Most people swear they know exactly where they are, like they truly understand what their problem is. And yet the truth is most people are struggling to see the forest for the trees. What I've experienced is that uh, it's really challenging when we are constantly somewhere in the future, constantly somewhere in the past, and we're struggling with actually being able to understand what it is we're actually dealing with, right? We usually have a very superficial understanding of what's wrong or what's happening in our life. And because we don't have that deeper understanding, these three clarities that I'm sharing with you, then it's very difficult to make change, let alone lasting change. And so this is a bigger key than most people realize, understanding exactly like where you are right now. And that means like the fine details about what's going on with your financial situation, what's going on with the actual, the red line in your business, what's going on in your relationship. What I've discovered is a lot of clients feel like they're clear about their relationship, yet they haven't really asked their partner what's going on, and their partner possibly hasn't even answered them honestly. So they're actually not clear about where they really are. In their mind, maybe, they just need a little bit more work on the relationship. They just need to start bringing back date night or have a nice, honest discussion. But in their partner's mind, they're on the verge of divorce. And that's what I have found is in those situations, it's such a surprise. Like I never knew it was this bad. I didn't know, that it would end up like this. It's such a surprise. But when you're really aware, present and aware, it doesn't have to be a surprise. And it's because most people aren't living and behaving in the present moment. As I mentioned just a moment ago, we're spinning about something that happened in the past, the thing that we wish would have, could have, or should have happened differently. Or we're outside of ourselves somewhere in the future. And so um, the other aspect of this is that we're either over exaggerating the problem or we're so detached from it and avoiding the problem that we're making it not as bad as it really is. It's very rare that I'll talk to somebody who is so present and aware. They're right here in the moment. They're right here, safe in their body. They're not anxious about the past, about the future. They're not depressed about the past. They're very clear about how they got where they are. They may still be feeling all of their emotions and having a very challenging time, but they're very clear about what got them there, what their behaviors were, and their attitudes, and they're very clear about where they are, right? And so that's the second part. So the first part is like I invite you to like take out a journal. Let's make this actionable, right? Have a notepad. Go get something to write with. Pause this. Now, assuming you did that in your back, I invite you to get really clear. Write down where am I now, and if the issue is relationship orientated, financial orientated, or career purpose work orientated, write that down, and then write down am I usually over exaggerating a problem? Do I usually go to hyperbole? Henny penny, the sky is falling. Am I somebody who's very like I'm very clear about problems? So, but I'm not necessarily like solution focused. It's not really my go-to. My go-to is like I know what's wrong. right? I can see problems before they even happen, right? So write down what's the problem as you see it, and then write down what may I be missing? What am I not seeing? And I just invite you to meditate on that. Maybe ask the people in your life for reflection and for clarity. Because the more clear you are about where you are now, the easier it is to understand how you got there and where you're going, right? Because it's just like with a GPS. If you don't know what street you're on, then how do you navigate to where you're going? GPS needs both. So the next clarity is, how did I get here? Sounds, again, for some people it might seem crazy, but this is a collection, right? Like, is this you in your car? I've been this lady, by the way. Absolutely, I've been this lady. And so, what was the thinking and the mindset, and the frame of how you saw the relationship, how you saw your business, how you saw who you are in your bit, or how you see who you are in your business? What's the frame of how you see the world? Again, coming back to most people when I'll be working with them, um, it's interesting for them to discover just how much of their relationship with the world is really detached or coming from victim mentality. It can be very surprising. And then when we investigate further of when did that story start, your way of framing the world that way, your way of communicating to yourself or to others in that manner, your way of solving problems in that manner, right? Either being aggressive and attacking a problem and maybe coming on too strong, or coming at it blindly, taking action before you're even clear, trying to fail forward fast instead of getting into alignment. So taking a lot of blind action, like throwing spaghetti on the wall just to see what sticks because you're in panic mode trying to escape your current reality, or avoiding it, distracting yourself constantly, pretending like it's not as bad or it's just going to go away as long as you don't look at it, because looking at it makes it real. When did that begin? Who did you learn that from? How do you see yourself as somebody who's capable to move through this problem? Are you solution focused, or do you see yourself as smaller than the problem? The problem's bigger than you, right? And the way to start to investigate this is, I think, like when I think this, that my business is falling apart, or that things aren't really that bad, right? Whatever the thought is, when I think this, I feel this, and then I do this. So when I think that me and my wife the, are doing fine, things aren't really that bad, then I tend to discount. I feel fine, and then I don't understand like why she's so angry. I tend to discount her feelings, and then when she attacks me, I feel confused and angry, and then I do this. I leave the house, right? And so understanding what do you dominantly, which the like the predominant thoughts that you're having, predominant emotions that you're having. Why do you specifically think the way you do? What got you to where you are? And then finally, the third clarity is where you're going. Having a North Star, especially for men, is extremely important. And most people don't know what they actually want. I know that's crazy, but most people are coming from this place of lack and scarcity, or this idea that they need a jet plane and they need to be a billionaire. And it's not necessarily a driving force for them as much as it is a need to validate themselves because they don't feel rich or important. Both are actually lack of mentality. Because I'm not enough, right? Because I'm not important, because I'm tired of struggling. My family's been struggling. I need that to prove that I'm worthy and to feel safe in the world. Now, that can be a big driving force, and it can actually cause somebody to be successful. Ironically, I'll work with some clients who have reached the mountaintop and they did so well financially, but they are so broke internally in their relationships. And, we've heard this before. We've heard this story before, right? And so when I work with that client, a lot of the same stuff is fueling them as might be fueling somebody who is stuck in first gear and can't get out of their own way. They just have two different responses on how they deal with that frame of reality, or with that internal desire to validate themselves. So, who's asking? Where are you asking from? Are you operating from your former self, the person that you're not wanting to be anymore? And that person requires validation from the outside world, requires validation from material things, requires validation from a certain number of zeros in the bank account. Are you operating from scarce and lack, meaning you can't move forward, you can't hire that coach, join that program, go on that trip, start that business because you're not enough, or you don't have enough understanding, enough knowledge, enough confidence, enough money, enough support? All of that is operating from a place of lack and scarcity. Or what you want is actually what someone else wanted for you. right? It's actually what your parents wanted for you. It's actually what society wants for you. It's not actually what you want. It's what you think you need in order to have in order to operate in a logical way, in a way that makes the most sense because you went and got this degree because it's what you thought you wanted because it was what your parents, guided you to. And so you went and got that degree and it felt right. You didn't really, at the time, maybe it actually felt like, yeah, that's true. I want that too. And then you got into it and you discovered it. It's okay. Then you left school and might as well get a job in the thing that I'm actually educated in, or at least I feel like I have to. And now it's 5 years into that and you feel dead inside. Every situation is unique, but what I found is that the reason why I teach from a place of principle is because on a principle level, there's this common thread. Even if your unique situation or your unique circumstance is special to you, to all, it's true for all of us. We all have our individual story. The underlying principles are a core thread for all of us. They're the same for all of us. So in this situation, it makes sense for everybody to get clear about what your situation is really right now. Where are you at really on this map? What are you really going through? What are you avoiding? What are you over exaggerating? How are the people responding to you? How do people see you? How do you see the world? Really clear. And then what actually got you here? When you're clear about that, you're less likely to repeat the past. But if you don't then have something that is pulling you forward, a desire, a vision, a goal that is actually in alignment to who you are and what you want, you'll still just be here going nowhere. So those are the three clarities. I hope that was supportive for you. If you like this content, stay tuned. More coming. Like it. Click like. Give me a thumbs up. Don't be lazy. Go, come on. Okay, cool. Subscribe. Why not? More coming. I'm here for you. I got you. Got you. Press the notifications so that way when it comes up, you're not the last to know. I'm going to be sharing interviews here. I'm going to be doing so much more. So stay tuned. And if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram too if you like this, if you want bite-sized stuff. But yeah, I'd love to hear your comments and questions. Any requests for clarity, please feel free. Reach out. Like I said, I'm here for you. Ignite your purpose, live your passion, love your life. You got this.